Here is my very messy closet, you could call it. It is specifically for Poshmark items, and I realized it was time to sort through some of the mess. So I started to go through handbags, checking the zippers, making sure there was no trash, making sure there are no rips or tears or any stains or something that I may have overlooked. After all, these items are for sale, so I want to make sure that they are in great, excellent, used condition. I put them in this basket. It's from an auction that I won. And this is just to give you an idea of what I was working with. So I would like these organized by season and then by size. Since there are many items, such as this one, which are intended for Depop instead of Poshmark, I'm going to go through and remove all of the Depop items from this area, just due to space restrictions. As of right now, just got to get it out of here. So that's what I'll do now, is go through, kind of clean this up a bit. Now this is a larger undertaking than it may appear to be, but still, I did not rush through. I simply jumped in and started dividing them into piles that made sense for my closet, such as items that are unlisted versus items that are already listed. Sometimes I would have to reference online and see if it was listed. And I also divided them by categories of the clothing, such as long sleeve versus short sleeve, etc. And that seemed to work really well for me. Here are some examples of Depop items in case you're not familiar with the difference. This is a heavily embroidered, very different kind of shirt, and here is a very 80s style jacket, windbreaker type thing. These items are vintage and they do really well on this other platform. However, I have just begun with Depop, so I'm still buying all of these ugly items like this terrible jacket here, but I intend to grow it. I pulled this out of my used to be Study. I won this at auction. This is from Pottery Barn, and it's a nice little bookshelf that I will use to store some items and put some decorative items up in my little closet area. This is nothing major, just extra space that I'm making the best use of. And you will see that I like to do it on the cheap. Everything that I used to get this closet organized was definitely done with minimal funds. Either things that I already had around the house, or I purchased for very little. These are note cards. Little thank you cards. Little things that I use for customers. I basically just went through and sorted the objects and threw away any unnecessary pieces. I like to keep lots of scraps and make my own little note cards sometimes. You all have really educated me on, being less wasteful where that comes into play. This tissue paper is highly effective as shipping material, so anytime that I have any left over, I definitely hang on to it and use it to wrap clothing, amongst other things. As you can see, I've got lots of little odds and ends that really need to be organized and find a new home other than hanging out on my floor of this closet. There are certain necessities that come with a reseller. I've got these little bins from Target. This is to remove lint from clothing. It's got a little machinery piece here that removes the little nubs that are on shirts, and certain fabrics get them worse than others do. But you learn that pretty quickly. Just a little gratuitous hand movements there. These I actually use for recording, but they make excellent little props for showing clothing, taking photographs, and of course, no closet is complete without your fair share of measuring tape. Every now and then, you want to freshen up some of these fabrics. You might find a stain that you find to be removable, and you'll use some products like these. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. You can never, ever have too many scissors. And of course, lint rolling. You're going to lint roll pretty much everything that you purchase and everything that you resell. So might as well have them on hand. One is much stickier than the other. You'll have to forgive my chameleon marks. My little lizards, they like to stick their little claws into my fingers. Now I'm going through wrapping materials, just sorting them out. This is a big chunk of paper that came from the Dollar Tree. You'll find that you run through these tissues pretty quickly if you're making sales, but I find them at garage sales. I've had them given to me. They're at thrift stores. And you will need a scale, at least one scale. Trying to protect the reflection here. But you will need to weigh packages from time to time. So it's best if you do eBay or some other listing where you've got to know the weight. You're doing your own shipping. It's best to have that. I was fortunate that after making soap, I already was familiar with the little scales. If you do Poshmark, these USPS priority mail boxes are free of charge. All you've got to do is go to the United States Postal Service website. I get lots of questions about this table. It is from IKEA, and the name of it, I believe, is the Linnmon. Could be saying that wrong. Linnmon. Sawhorse table. It retails for about $1.99, but I won it at auction, I think, for $50. And this little trash can, of course, it's just a little dollar store trash can. But this table, you can adjust it, remove the legs, or move them around. And this is also from IKEA, this green planter / rolling container, if you will. I keep my steamers in it, my ring light. And now I'll show you some of the really inexpensive options you can find. Dollar Tree is just a wealth of products for you if you plan to do any type of organization in your home. Now, these are bright and colorful, and you may be into that, and maybe you aren't. There are also some neutral options, as I show you here. This is inside of a local store. You have your choice of colors as well, if you're into more vibrant colors. I really went all out and purchased lots of items, mainly because this is not my only project. I also plan to do bathroom cabinets and my personal closet and my kitchen. So I'm really open to different products, but if you don't have a Dollar Tree, you are really missing out because every single item is $1. Everything you can touch in this store is $1. There are actually some items that are 3 for $1. And here are crafting supplies, for example. You know I love to do crafts, so it's right up my alley. Keep in mind that you get what you pay for, but sometimes that's okay. Sometimes you don't need a whole lot of quality, you just need to get the job done and quickly and for a cheap price. Now these baskets are from Crate and Barrel, and of course I paid auction prices for these as well. I use them to place scarves in, handbags, little knickknacks. I got this one at a garage sale. I may have given $1 for it. I actually got 2 of these in a matching set. This little cloth piece is removable. This is also from the Dollar Tree. I chose not to hang these this time, but I wanted to show you the option. Now this is my backdrop my husband made for me. You can see that it works well to take photographs in front of. Place my mannequin here as an example. And these are also really cheap at Walmart, 97 cents for the shower curtain hangers, little circles. They come in all colors, and I used them to hang handbags on. So some handbags are meant for the basket and some are meant to be hung. And that's what I'm showing you here, how to use these little hacks to make things efficient and inexpensive. You can see it works perfectly. And then you have them displayed. And now you can see them hanging there instead of having to sometimes dig through what feels like a bottomless pit. To me, anyway. Little closer view there. Now, these boxes, I actually have had these for a while. I purchased mine at Dollar General or Family Dollar maybe, but I did notice yesterday, at the time of this recording anyway, that these are half off at Michael's. So, if you shop at Michael's, be sure to use a coupon always and check out the specials. Now you may notice there are some odds and ends in this box. I like to send these with customers just as a little thank you gift. Selenite, just clearing the energy in this little area. You guys know me. Here's a beautiful candle. Now I've got a whole set of candles that are calcite. One of them I really paid through the nose for, the other two not so much. And here is the final product. I know it doesn't look exactly perfect, but for me it is a vast improvement and I'm happy with it. Again, this is on the landing at the top of my staircase. We had one of our children temporarily move in, so my husband hung some homemade options up, and we hung some old drapes around it to close it off. And I think you can probably see that on my home tour video. Little odds and ends, cheap little options, and that's that. I really am happy with it. I'm closing it up, and that's how I'll leave it. We have our kids staying with us, at least for the time being. So this is my little area. I had to give up my studio for a minute, but I'm okay with it. And I really got a crafty, inventive husband, so. Here are a few items that are some Depop kind of items, in case you're wondering. This is so 80s. I couldn't resist it. Look at the colors. Look at how vibrant it is. 1987. I would have been toting that around. And finally we have these Betsy Johnson shoes. This gorgeous cobalt blue with the spikes and the zipper. And it's lined, of course, with skull and crossbones. Puff paint was the best thing ever. Bedazzling. You can see the little jewels from a bedazzler. Someone's mother must have made this jacket, which makes it cooler.